Hi, everybody. Welcome. Hello. Welcome to Makeup University. Today is Resolve Tuesday. Get yourself some tea. I got the Wake Up and Hustle Repeat Cup. Oh, so good. Oh, so good. Okay, you guys, today in our Resolve Tuesday video, we are going to talk about the need to keep pushing forward, even though it is difficult in every aspect of your life, mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, difficult. For those of you who are aware of the two different types of calendars, there is a very specific season that we are in right now. And before I keep going, let me check the volume. Can you hear me? Okay. So there is the Gregorian calendar and the Hebraic calendar. Two different things, off by several months. So we on the Hebraic calendar are 7 weeks from the new year, from Rosh Hashanah. And right now, these days, and like 28 more days, is known as the month of Av, A-V. Here we are in the month of Av. Oh, sorry. I could see that. I think my dog wants out. Hold on. Go, honey. Hi. Okay. So sorry about that. I guess that's the joy, the beauty and the bane of doing a live video. Because if it was recorded, I'd just pause, let the dog out and keep going. But here we are. I just feel it really heavy on my heart to share this. And I'm telling you that right now on the calendar, we are in the month of Av. And even if you don't subscribe to that and you are feeling in your life like, whoa, I'm just trying, and nothing's breaking through, it's a season. It is literally a appointed time and place in the season of life. You are in what's known as the dire straits or the narrow straits, and it tends to be a time of challenge. Have you ever heard the phrase, if you're going through hell, keep going? Like, don't stop there. My gosh, keep going. So if you're going through a hard time, no matter how difficult it is, it's really important that you push through and keep trying, keep making effort, keep moving forward. It's so important. And okay, so here we are in the month of Av in our dire straits. And I like to use the analogy of giving birth. This is probably the best analogy for it. When you're giving birth, it hurts. It's tiring. It's challenging. But you know, at the end of this, there is going to be this amazing, beautiful baby. It's such a blessing. When you're giving birth and it gets very narrow, there can be the desire due to pain, exertion, fatigue, exhaustion to want to quit. But guess what? You can't quit. What would happen if you quit 10 pushes into the delivery when you were in the most narrow of spaces and you get tired and it hurts and guess what? You can't quit. And if you did choose halfway through the narrow place to decide to quit and to give up and not to press and push through to have that baby, you could lose all of the blessing. You could lose all of the promise. So, if you're in a hard place, experiencing difficulty and challenge, I just encourage you, keep pushing, keep pressing. Use every tool and resource you need to help yourself to push through. You know, when you're in the delivery room, there could be a birth coach. Maybe you need a birth coach. There could be positive music to help keep you in the mind frame to keep pushing towards delivery. Maybe you need to mix up your playlist and put on some good old fashioned uplifting boogie tunes, or switch to a really encouraging podcast. Jocko Willink, Ed Milet, Tony Robinson's. Why don't you just go super old school and get some Napoleon Hill going? There's so many resources. And if you're experiencing that financial difficulty, you're like, well, yeah, I just don't have the money to buy a book or to subscribe to a paid podcast. I think that's probably the easiest challenge to overcome and to get over the hurdle of, because there is so many free resources, free podcasts, free YouTube's, free. There's just so many free resources. Even your local library could be a place to get the books that you need. I guess I just wanted to encourage you, as I encourage myself, that it's narrow right now. Every single one of my friends, people that I know, are in dire straits, narrow places, literally pushing for their lives, for their families, for their businesses, for their future, for their legacy and their destiny. And these days are tough. But wait, you don't know how many pushes you are to the promise. You could be 2 pushes away, 1 push away. You could be 10, 12 pushes away. I just encourage you, put it in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, in your spirit, in your resolve, your fingernails if you need to. Resolve to push, 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 push through, push past every obstacle that you are facing, because you're worth it. Because that promise, that destiny, that dream, that goal, that thing you set out. Remember when we started Resolve Tuesdays? Way back in January. Hello, it's August. You've made it. Yay! Yay, you! You have made it this far. And don't quit just because you can't see the finish line. Another story, analogy, something to encourage you with is that when you run a marathon, I love running. I love to run a marathon. You run by yourself with a team of people. So you might be there on your own running, and you're there with like 10,000 or more extra people. We're all running together and we're all running the same race, but you run your own race inside of that race. Does that help you? So just so you know, in a marathon, whether you are doing the 5K, the 10K, the half, I don't know what the Ks are in that, the 13.1 or the 26.2, here's the deal. When you start running, oh, it's such a party. It's so much fun. There's the arch you run through. There's the timer. Somebody sings a national anthem. Somebody does the bang, and you start running, and there's all these people, and the energy is so high, and it's so much fun, and it is so great. That feels like January. Like, woo, we're doing this. This is a goal. Whew. When you get past that first mile, it thins out. In fact, I would say it thins out closer to the half mile, maybe a notch over the half mile. All of those people clapping, cheering, ringing the cowbell, holding the signs, cheering you on, they thin out for sure by the first mile. And then it is you, yourself, and I love it, the sound of my sneakers hitting that ground for the next 12 miles. 25 miles, you are on your own for the majority of the race. Just you, your thoughts, whatever you did to prepare for this. Everybody's there with you at the beginning. There will be so many people at the finish line waiting to cheer you on, clap you through, congratulate you. Wow, you made it. And I'm here to tell you the real work is done and accomplished in the middle of the race. And it's long, hard, narrow, can be lonely, can be mentally and emotionally breaking. Though there needs to be a resolve and a reserve in you that you tap on that will help you push through so that you cross that finish line in any race, 5K, 10K, 13.1, 26.2, all of that distance, effort doesn't count if you don't cross the finish line. It doesn't matter if you crawl over and you're the last person as they're turning out the lights. It matters that you finish, that you cross over. As a runner in a marathon or a triathlon, it really hurts to get the DNF. Does not finish. I've never got a DNF. I've always finished. Had to crawl over a couple times, but I finished. And so today, I just wanted to encourage you, and I'm encouraging myself. You need to push through. That's all there is to it. You need to push through. You need to finish. We've talked about it over the summer that I'm telling you, August comes, it becomes back to school, and it is a very slippery and quick slope into Labor Day weekend, into fall season, into trends, into the next thing you know, it's Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas, boom, New Year's. Remember we started this in 2019 in January? Resolve Tuesdays were about just getting together and addressing the need to resolve to find ways to finish the goal. Yeah. There's one more thing to keep in mind that's really significant time. I really fit into the Issachar group of people. I'm very sensitive to times, signs, wonders, seasons, times, places. And so I always feel like I am noticing and watching for times and seasons and making note of it. And so that's why I came to share with you how important it is that August is the Gregorian calendar. It coincides with Av, A-V, Av, the Hebraic calendar. And these two things together are both like it's what you would consider in the Gregorian calendar. We would call it the dog days of summer. It's a hot, humid, long month, just waiting to break through into September when seasons tend to change, to begin to change. Leaves start changing. Cactuses don't change in the state of Arizona. Like they're green, they're pointy. That's all there is. We don't see that kind of season change in the desert area that I live in Arizona. But what we do see is things tend to get cooler a little bit. My point is that we are coming up on the two calendars, Gregorian, Hebraic, August and Av, are both leading into it being a brand new era. Like I make sure I tell myself to put it in the description. This is probably one of the most important things we talk about. And the timer right here says 14 minutes. So at 14 minutes is where we're really going to hammer home why you keep pushing, why you don't quit, why you resolve to get yourself, get your butt in gear, took us into overdrive, because in the year 2019, 5779, we are not just finishing out a year, we are closing out a decade, we are closing out an era. However you enter this new era, this new decade, so the era for the Hebraic calendar is 5780, and on the Gregorian calendar, it is 2020. This is beyond significant. How you enter and begin this new era, this new decade, is going to set the tone for the next 10 years. Please let me say this one more time to you. It is setting the tone for the next 10 years. I know that I normally am happy, pappy, bubbly. So happy, pappy, so excited. This is a serious moment. As I tell you, from my heart to yours, no matter what you're going through, what you're facing, you need to finish 5779 strong. You need to finish 2019 strong, because you are going into a brand new era, a brand new decade. And with love, I say, when you start running a marathon, even if you're in the last gate, they put you in what they call gates. So the first gate will be, tends to beat the Kenyans. They're so fast. Meb, such a good runner. That first gate is the people who can run a mile in 5 minutes or less. First gate, second gate, third gate. There can be as many as 50 gates. And I am speaking to you in the 50 gate. You're the people who run a mile in like 30 minutes. It's okay. It's okay. It doesn't matter if you finish your era and you barely make it over the line. And for you, finishing strong means that you do not get a DNF, that you successfully cross over, and that even if it's only a fingernail hold, like into your destiny, your purpose, your legacy as 2020 and 5780 begin, even if you just have the fingernail hold. All that matters is that you press through, you continue to push yourself from this decade that is ending into the new era that is beginning. Just make it across. Just push yourself until you cross over. Remember, I love Bible stories, and I love that when Joshua and Caleb cross over into the promised land of milk and honey. Oh my gosh. The story says that they saw grapes that were so big, and I have a hard time getting my mind around this. They were so big. The cluster of grapes were so big that they had to carry it out on a tent pole. That's a lot of grape. But here's what you need to know and to remember. They crossed over and it was so good. Think of how many people could feed on one grape if you had to take it out on a tent pole. There were ites in the promised land of milk and honey. They crossed over and saw that it was good and saw that, there's giants in the land, my promised land, my blessing, my thing that I want the most. I am, in order to maintain this, I'm going to have to battle this giant, battle this situation, press past taking SAT, LSAT, final exams. I'm going to have to just press past this giant in the land. So here's where I just want to, hi, honey, my love. I just want to sum up. I just saw the timer. It got long. And I realized I spoke really slow in this because I feel like the message is so key and timely and important. And that is, even though you cross over into a land, there's my love. You cross over into the land, into the promise, and you see that there's a giant in there. Remember, when you're delivering that baby, you can't stop and you can't go back. Do you know how the story ends for Joshua and Caleb? They spied it out. It's so good. There's a couple of battles ahead of us, but it's really good. And they went back and they told everybody, wow, it's so good. There were several spies that went out. 2 of them saw that it was good, and the others couldn't, even though they're eating a grape. It's so big, so sweet, so juicy, so perfect. Oh, yeah. they told the other friends and family members, the other tribes, they're like, oh yeah, land of milk and honey. It's so good. Look at this grape. Oh, by the way, there's giants. 2 people said, yeah, it's good. We got a few fights to do. And the other said, oh, it's a sweet place, but it's going to be too much work. It's going to be too hard. We should just stay here. And it's a sweet place, but it's going to be too much work. It's going to be too hard. They stay there for 40 years. Do you have up ahead of you? You have to train harder, wake up earlier, stay up later. 7 weeks away. Be 7 weeks away. 20, mile 20 is August. And I can see, even though it's 7 weeks away, I can see now the finish line. I like to party. I love a celebration. Get the food, get the wine, make the desserts, make the limoncello. I can just see it. And so I am ready to have the greatest Rosh Hashanah 5780 celebration ever, because I am going to be able to say, look what the Lord has done. And I'm going to go boom, 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 boom. That, oh, my child, my business, this, that, the other. And so thankful and grateful. I implore to my phone and get that sucker out. I like to print it. Here's part of how I do it. I guess we should do a video on how I do it. Maybe that's next week. I print out the print for free downloadable calendar, and then I have them set up and I fill them in, and I sync that with my Google Calendar. That all goes to my phone, and I have it written out, the goals on the Monday, and then by Friday I check off the things that got accomplished, and if not, I move it down to the next week. Just always pressing. Now I feel like I got sloppy in June and July, and then boom, it went August. I'm like, oh, I have 7 weeks to do this. Boom. Massive, massive action. Forcing yourself to do the things that you don't want to do because it's scary or uncomfortable. Live video to talk with you, because when I do a blah, upload it, like a long time. Resolve Tuesdays will finish out through, definitely committed to that, because we started Resolve Tuesday. Hey, you guys, and it's also stormy out. And still, guys, happy Resolve Tuesday. Push yourself. Let me know in the comments what mega motivation mode pushing you. Guys, I'm Sherilyn. Remember, you look really gorgeous today and motivated.